You know, if you worked a 9 to 5 job every single day for the next 8 million years, you still wouldn't touch Elon Musk's fortune. And while you were hearing this sentence, he probably made another $100,000. But the crazy part? He's not even the richest person in history. Not even close. Welcome to Grade Luxury, where today we'll uncover the true kings of wealth. From tech giants to ancient emperors, who was the richest human to ever live? Let's begin. First up, Pablo Escobar. At his peak, he supplied 80% of the world's energy, earning $420 million a week. So much cash, rats were eating through it. He spent $1,000 a week on rubber bands just to tie his money. His inflation-adjusted net worth? Around $80 billion. But none of that was in stock or assets. It was cold, hard cash. So if we're talking liquid wealth, Pablo was in a league of his own. Now switch gears. Joseph Stalin, the Soviet leader. Officially, his salary was around $30,000 a month in today's terms. But here's the catch. He owned everything. The land, the military, the factories. His grip over the Soviet Union, worth over $10 trillion, meant his control outmatched most billionaires' wealth. When he collapsed from a stroke, no one dared call a doctor for 12 hours. They were too scared he might wake up and kill them. That's not money. That's raw power. Speaking of power, Adolf Hitler turned propaganda into profit. He made millions from his book, Mein Kampf, collected royalties from postage stamps, and taxed no one. Why? He made himself tax-exempt. Through donations and stolen wealth, his war machine controlled about $3 trillion in resources. But the most terrifying part? He built that empire from a hostel bed and failed art school. Then came a man who didn't conquer nations. He wanted to change the way we live. Henry Ford cut work weeks, doubled salaries, and invented the assembly line. His Model T made cars affordable. And unknowingly, he created the modern middle class. His net worth peaked at $200 billion. But his legacy? It drives every suburb, every highway, every commute. You can't ignore John D. Rockefeller. He founded Standard Oil, crushed competitors, controlled 90% of U.S. oil, and became the world's first billionaire. Even after the government broke his company into 34 pieces, he got even richer. Adjusted for today, his fortune might be between $400 and $600 billion. Want generational wealth? Meet the Rothschild family. They created the world's first global banking network, long before phones or planes. They financed governments, rescued economies, and some estimates once put their family net worth at $500 trillion. But today, only one Rothschild is on the Forbes list, and he's not even related. Then there's Jacob Fugger, the forgotten rich guy. In the 1500s, he financed kings, emperors, and even popes. He controlled 2% of Europe's GDP at one point. He once bought an election with today's equivalent of hundreds of millions. A forgotten kingpin of capitalism, worth an estimated $400 billion. But here's the flex king, Mansa Musa, Nax of Mali. He controlled half the world's gold supply. On his pilgrimage to Mecca, he brought 60,000 people, gave away so much gold he crashed economies. He literally broke the market. Estimated net worth? $400 billion. Maybe more. His wealth was so vast it still bends history books. Now go back to the 1200s. Genghis Khan ruled the largest empire in history. He owned 20% of Earth's land, which would be worth over $130 trillion today. But he didn't hoard wealth. He shared spoils with his army, wore simple clothes, and asked to be buried in an unmarked grave. No gold, just absolute dominance. Then came Augustus Caesar of Rome. After conquering Egypt, he owned a fifth of Rome's GDP personally. He taxed empires, looted treasuries, and his wealth is estimated at $5 trillion today. When he died, they declared him a god. Not bad for a man who rebranded Rome's identity. And finally, King Solomon, the man of 700 wives and mountains of gold. Biblical accounts estimate his fortune at $2 trillion. But since history is a bit fuzzy that far back, he stays legendary, not confirmed. So who was the richest of them all? It depends. Cash? Pablo? Assets? Rockefeller? Land? Genghis? Flex? Musa? Power? Stalin? But today, with real-time, accessible, verifiable wealth and more tech than kings could dream of, Elon Musk leads the modern era. With $400 billion, he's not just rich, he's the richest man in the richest age humanity has ever known. And someone will one day surpass him. This is Grade Luxury, where history and opulence collide. Subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most powerful and wealthy.